Welcome back to Century of Economy. The overdue second report is finally here. The Kraken immediately makes its presence known with a successful roll in the Spanish turn, shutting down their cargo masters. This also affects the English, as they have a cargo master in their fleet as well. However, karma is a cruel thing, as a pirate sloop is consumed by a storm. The Kraken is successful again on the English turn, infuriating them. The Dauntless severely wounds the Ranger and Darkhawk too. Meanwhile, the Prussian crown has sunk, the pirate's best way to go after the hired English subs. The Broken Blade attacks the HMS York while she is docked at the Finnish goods island. Meanwhile, a storm sinks the Pestilence, the first cursed ship to sink so far in the game. Due to the presence of the Kraken, the English battle fleet has not gotten to pirate waters as quickly as they would like. However, you can see the firepower arrayed against the pirates here, as the English slowly make their way toward them. All admirals bemoan as the Kraken once again shuts down all abilities. The Spanish are concentrating their gold efforts, and are so far the only faction to have a level 4 colony, which shares an island with the imposing Fortaleza Dorada. The newly launched Grand Temple eyes the venture suspiciously. The Franklin sails past Sa Geographe and Amiral St. Croix. Friendly greetings are shouted between the ships. But the gun ports of the Franklin swing open, and she opens fire! The deadly American gunship completely derelicts the Geographe with an extra action. Making a point that this is war, not some raid, the Enterprise takes 2 of L'Hercule's masts. The Kraken finally misses a roll, and the Amity brings home gold for the pirates, which they desperately need. With extra actions now available to her again, the Dauntless shows her strength and sinks the Ranger, derelicts the Darkhawk, and repairs her missing mast. Looking for a way to hurt their enemies without sacrificing ships, the French launch Le Bon Chance, with outmover Jean de Zélie aboard. The French also put forth the formidable La Course, with custom extra action captain Bernice Savage, a helmsman, and fire shot. The French weren't the only ones launching. The Spanish put forth the Crista del Obispo at their HI, and the Santos Hermanos and La Fuega from their level 5 colony and fort. A wide shot of the Middle Ocean. The Americans are bombarding the French trading port, and the Spanish are coming north, presumably toward the French. The Enterprise is set upon by the dreaded Le Bonaparte, and the Venture is able to derelict the St. Joan and scare the Grand Temple into the fog. The Franklin continues her bombardment of the French port, and is given a hand by the recently launched Stevens. In the background you can see the derelict de Lache de Calvados, whose immunity to ships with an S was overcome by the Venture's extended range. The Cursed launch a deadly beast from their HI, the King Jones. With extended range and Eternal built in, she's a ship that is not to be taken lightly, especially with Sammy the Skull coming to man the helm. The Darkhawk too succumbs to fire masts and the firepower of the Dauntless. The Grand Temple gets the jump on the Thomas Jefferson. With Kian Ni aboard, every hit removes a cargo. Even though the Temple is only able to remove one of the Jefferson's masts, she is able to completely eliminate the crew, Commodore Peregrine Stern and Commodore Edward Preble, the American Fleet Admiral. La Charlemagne and Le Superbe use whirlpools to get back to French waters quickly, and Le Superbe uses an extra action and her fire complements to set the Venture alight. However, her fire shot equipment backfired on her. The French trading port, under siege. French gunships are on the way, but will they be too late? Returning the favor, the Sabre begins bombarding the American trading port near the middle portal. Meanwhile, the Triumph has successfully built a trading port on the far side of the portal, giving the French control of the Middle Ocean. But will it last? With the Kraken successfully rolling on their turn, again, the English are becoming angrier and angrier, and resort to using their subs to ram the smaller pirate runners from underwater. Despite their lack of crew abilities, the English are encircling pirate territory and closing in on their HI. Sensing that it's no longer safe, the pirates move the Kraken around to the far side of their HI, where it will be much more difficult to get. The Spanish Empire is mostly gold ships, but that is beginning to change. Some more ships have joined their ranks, and their bows are pointing northward, toward the English and French. The Spanish have an axe to grind with the French, since they stole one of the Spanish islands and built a trading port on it. The bulk of the Spanish gold fleet bottlenecks around the southern portal, trying to stay away from storms. Meanwhile, icebergs prove an annoyance to the English, as a berg slams into the Dauntless, and then into the submerged Terror. The Grand Temple loses 3 masts to the Jefferson, who was given an extra action to shoot twice. Meanwhile, the Venture has somehow put out her fires and moves to repair at Thompson's Island. The Franklin repairs as well, having taken heavy fire at the hands of enraged Frenchmen. David Porter, captain of the Constitution, orders a broadside attack against the French port, which succeeds. Furthermore, Montana Mays has graced the ship with the same action twice, thus enabling the Constitution to cross the bow of the Superb and fire another broadside attack, which hits as well. The Enterprise, meanwhile, has sunk l'Hercule. Resorting to desperate tactics, the pirates swarm ram the Dauntless, successfully taking her down to 2 and then 1 mast. Then the Revenant, pirate flagship, weighs in and, using her ability to shoot through other ships, derelicts the Dauntless. The HMS Nautilus is caught in a storm, but survives. The Sabre is able to demolish the American trading port, resetting the island to unexplored. La Course and La Magnifique ram into the Stevens, but are only able to eliminate 1 mast with a firepot. La Lion, meanwhile, is able to hit 3 times with her fire equipment, giving the Jefferson 3 fire masts and only 1 regular mast left standing. The Superbe puts out her fire masts at St. Pierre, opening the door for Le Gaulle to bear down upon the Constitution. The English realize that the Dauntless is in danger and try to rescue her, even purposely sailing the Maui's fishhook over an iceberg, but they are unable to reach her due to the dreaded Kraken. Speaking of dreaded, the El Cruzado has reached the Middle Ocean and begins to bombard the French trading port. Spain declares war on the French. The Thomas Jefferson was saved from certain doom by the Philadelphia. Here she repairs at the American HI. The Constitution was able to derelict La Magnifique. Chancellor Lenoir and Diamond Nelson Turner cancelled each other out and opened the door for yet another successful broadside attack. The HMS Apollo had been trying to outflank the pirates by going through the northern portal, but she was open to cannon fire from the Devil's Maw. Deciding to sink rather than capture, the Revenant sends the Dauntless to the depths. In a last stand, the pirates spend all of their gold to launch 3 warships: the Spanish Main Harbinger, the DJC Harbinger, and the Ocean's Edge Deliverance, each with crew to make them deadly. La Magnifique is sunk. France's only Chancellor goes beneath the waves and leaves La Course vulnerable to the Constitution. The Cursed are not pleased with Spaniards in their territory and declare an ultimatum: leave or else. The Spanish upgrade their islands in the Middle Ocean, here building a port on a medicine island. Meanwhile, the Cruzado clears away the French trading port. Spanish ships are approaching from the far side of the portal. Already La Fuega has used her battleship keyboard to eliminate 1 mast from the Bonne Chance. Meanwhile, the Cristal del Obispo bears down on the French, with the Philadelphia in the mix to grab any derelict she can. La Assassina de la Nave derelicts the Bonne Chance and kills Jean de Zélie in the process. The Constitution finally fails a broadside attack, thus ending a streak of 4 successes. However, an extra action from LeBeau and the cancelling of the Course's ability leaves her with 1 mast. The Franklin, fully repaired, eliminates 2 masts from the Gowl, and with an extra action sails on to eliminate 2 more from the Sabre. The Egan squeezes between the Constitution and Stevens, and successfully eliminates the Course's last mast. The best hope for the French has fallen. The Cursed are getting antsy and getting more aggressive toward the Spanish, who were not hurrying fast enough for their liking. El Ballista of the pirates slams into the Maui's fishhook, failing at her ram attempt, but succeeded in killing the helmsman. The Amity chases the Apollo back through the portal, ramming a mast off of her. The Gowl crosses the bow of the Constitution and sets her alight with a fire pot. The fishhook captures the Ballista, and both ships are sent back to the English HI, where they begin repairing. Meanwhile, the Dreadnought is almost ready. The English gold system is working to peak performance, bringing in valuable spices, which are necessary to keep the English war effort going. The pirates hesitate, not wanting to needlessly sacrifice their ships to the English, who have gotten very close to their HI. The Spanish bear down upon the French, derelicting the Bon Chance. The Crista del Obispo derelicts the Lion, who managed to derelict the Philadelphia with a fire mast. After finishing the Bon Chance, the Spanish train their guns on St. Pierre, taking all of the fort's flags. The Crystal uses an extra action to swoop in and finish the fort. Icebergs gunk up the trade routes of the English and slow their gold system. The Americans concentrate their fire on the Gowl, and with cannons and ramming, bring her to one mast left. The Charlemagne bears down on the Stephens, seeking revenge for the loss of the Magnifique and La Course. The Bonaparte's S immunity is cancelled by the Constitution, opening her up to cannon fire from the Egan. Before the Charlemagne could fire on the Stephens, the Enterprise pulls broadside and eliminates all but her bow masts. La Course repairs at the American HI, captured by the New Orleans. The Cursed add a hybrid to their ranks, launching My Custom Revenant from Return of Davy Jones. The Pirate Revenant, meanwhile, is brought low by the London and Bolingbroke. The Leicester looks to fight a better part of the pirate battle group, raking the bow of the Harbinger, but missing the Grand Barnacle. The Gallows and Bombardier, meanwhile, inflict serious damage on the other Harbinger. The Kraken moves further behind the pirate HI, while the Deliverance waits for an opportune moment. The Spanish lower the hammer on the French, eliminating St. Pierre and sinking Le Superbe. However, the Superbe dropped her remaining crew on the Portal Island, saving them. If the French can get to them, they could be placed on another battleship. The Bonaparte is left derelict between the Constitution and Egan. Meanwhile, the Stephens and Franklin team up on the Charlemagne, taking her down to one mast. The Constitution's fire finally spreads, and she flees southward toward Thompson's Island. Meanwhile, the Enterprise provides the finishing blow to derelict the Charlemagne, and the Constitution is able to dock and remove her fire masts. The Harbinger tries to fight back, and manages to eliminate the sternmost mast on the Bombardier. The other Harbinger rams into the Leicester, but fails to take out a mast. In the background, the Lord Walpole gets into firing position. Though derelict, she could still move, and given an extra action, the Bonaparte re-explores the island that started this war. At the end of their turn, the French build Paradis de la Mer. The English sink the Revenant, vowing not to take prisoners and not to stop until the Dauntless has been avenged. The Leicester damages the Harbinger further, while support ships begin to trickle in. The other Harbinger's fire spreads, with one mast remaining. It is not looking good for the pirates. Despite building Paradis, the Bonaparte is sunk at the hands of the Venture's extended range. The Americans begin to assault the fortress, with the Enterprise rolling low and managing to eliminate a flag. The pirates manage to hit the Leicester with a fire pot. Meanwhile, the other Harbinger decides to run, and turns, docking at the pirate HI. You can see how close the English are to the pirate home here. The Spanish El Monte Cristo is sunk by a storm. With resources about to change, the English cash in their vast reserves of valuable spices, but save the low-value finished goods, taking in over 200 gold. Resource change. The die on the left signifies that each resource is worth its face value. Lumber is resource number 1, and so is worth 1 gold. This benefits the English and Cursed greatly, as the Cursed have a food island close by, resource number 5, and the English have finished goods very close at hand, resource number 6. Furthermore, the English already have a large stack of finished goods on their island, giving them even more power of purse. Even more ominous, however, is the duration, 10 turns. The Americans continue chipping away at Paradis. Here the Enterprise has removed another flag from the fort. The Cursed dock 3 of their best gold ships afloat at the food island to get as much of the resource as they can. The Hephaestus comes to the surface and finishes 1 Harbinger. In an act of expansion and general aggression, the English built Fort Brompton on the gold island the pirates and French had been sharing. The Pique and the Intrépide had just grabbed some coins from that island, and the Intrépide was attacked by the Bolingbroke, leaving the Pique to fend for herself. The English end their turn by cashing in all of their stored finished goods, and immediately send all available ships to the finished goods island. A wide shot of the pirate HI. The English have them backed into a corner, and with the Davy Jones Curse Harbinger repairing, and the Grand Barnacle and Deliverance grounded. On the far side, the Gallows has laid low the Cassandra, while the Amity floats derelict within sight of the Devil's Maw. The Kraken is hiding on the far side of the pirate HI, trying to stay away from Lawrence on the Gallows. The Leicester is just out of frame to the right, her stern mast burning. The Spanish explore and build a fort on the middle portal, giving them access. Meanwhile, the Americans concentrated their firepower and have demolished Paradis de la Mer. Up north, the Deliverance has struck. Using an EA, she zoomed in next to the Gallows, allowed herself to be cancelled, and used her extra action to fire, leaving the Gallows with 1 mast left. English Admiralty, having plans for their cancellers, orders the Gallows to retreat. English gold ships converge on the finished goods island, quickly filling their holds, while the Maui's fishhook upgrades the town to a trading port. With their coffers overflowing with gold, and with grand plans, the English go on a mega launch. HMS Titan, with Fire and Steel Thomas Gunn, a helmsman, Woodes Rogers, and an oarsman. HMS Grand Temple, with Trevor Van Tyne, a shipwright and an oarsman. The Shuizian, with Ear Fuchs, Commander Spencer Portland, a gunner, a shipwright, helmsman, and an oarsman. The Celtic Fury, with Queen Teresa Pavon, a helmsman, Count Gustav, and a shipwright. The Baohuan, with Zheng Yi, Zheng Pao, Zheng Liquan, a captain, helmsman, shipwright, and 6 oarsmen. The Crescent Moon, with Kier Ed Din, and finally the HMS Rye. A wide shot of mostly English waters. The Grand Temple is waiting for some crew to arrive, namely Hermione Gold and Admiral Blake. The Titan will immediately head due south to check the Spanish advance, which worries the English. The addition of Kier Ed Din and Zheng He gives the English 4 Fleet Admiral crew, more than any other faction. The Baohuan, Celtic Fury, and Shuizan await deployment. A wide shot of the Southern Ocean. The Americans have won the preliminary battles of their war with the French, and have taken many French ships as prizes, such as La Course and La Charlemagne. The Spanish are making their way northward, and perhaps a clash with the English, who are very aggressively expanding their empire. That's all for this report. Stay tuned for more, and be sure to like and subscribe.